It's a woke world after all. Here's two ridiculous stories about leftist absurdity. Stanford University releasing its guide to eliminate, quote, harmful language, and apparently calling yourself an American is a dirty word. So instead, use U.S. citizen. But that's not all. Brown bag lunches are racist. So say lunch and learn instead. In place of you guys, use folks or people. And try switching out killing two birds with one stone with accomplishing two things at once. But that's not all the woke insanity. A film critic is putting the movie Avatar 2 on blast over white people playing the blue aliens and tweeting, quote, at some point, we got to talk about the cultural appropriation of Avatar and white actors are cosplaying as people of color. It's just a mess and so not necessary. Okay. You know what? Jesse, how does any of this help us?
It doesn't. How does she know the white actors are playing the blue aliens?
Yeah, well, that's the next question. I mean, you know, are there blue people out there that we haven't met yet?
The blue people being discriminated against? That doesn't make any sense. And so they say you can't use American because that refers to people from the United States, only insinuating that the United States is the most important country in the Americas.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's where everybody's trying to get to.
Yeah. It is the most important country. I don't think Honduras is saying, hey, guys, what about me? Also, the IT department at Stanford put this together.
Right.
Yeah.
Just fix my computer, dude. What are you getting involved in the language for? Leave that to the English department. And the English department isn't trying to do this. They teach you in English. You probably majored in English. That you want to use colorful language, graphic language, maybe some euphemisms to draw the reader in. If it sounds super clinical, no one's going to want to read it. Lastly, Judge, they're looking out for Karen.
Yeah.
They say Karen is offensive, and they want you to say instead, a demanding or entitled white woman. Does the Karen really want to be called a demanding and entitled white woman? I doubt it.
You know what, Tom? I don't understand why we capitulate to these fools.
That's it.
Why do we even give them a moment of our time?
Or an inch, as they say, because then they will take a mile. Now, this, if you look at some of the silly things on this, it almost makes sense. There's a logic to it. So if you give in a little bit, then the argument about Avatar makes some kind of sense. Because now anyone who does any kind of a change of color of their skin is racist, which is terrible for me because I want the audience to know I am wearing brown makeup right now. Imagine if I didn't wear brown makeup. Imagine what I would look like on TV.
Yeah.
So we all change our color, and people make fun of me. I mean, that is a joke, right? We're all laughing at that. But people feel entitled to laugh at me because I guess I'm privileged. I don't know what the privilege is, being laughed at.
Yeah.
I went to the Virgin Islands, and the local children, I was on the beach, they literally circled me and laughed and made fun of me.
Oh.
Because you're so pale and thin?
Yes, they were pointing at me saying, white, 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 like, look at how white he is.
But
That's a hate crime.
Dana, isn't that the whole point? It's like they're all victims. It's all getting them the status of victimhood.
So I have a very good friend who will go nameless, but he is at Stanford as a teacher, professor. And he said that he doesn't understand why the IT department is so liberal and that this is really just coming from the IT department and that the rest of the faculty just ignores all of this and thinks it's ridiculous. And one of the things that point out is that they say you can't say brave because it perpetuates the stereotype of the noble, brave savage, which to me is more offensive than just saying the word brave.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
What about Braveheart?
Yeah, what about that? There's a million things. I think that I believe that Stanford pulled this down today. I can't imagine the Stanford PR department today.
Of all things.
Yeah.
Finding out, like, wait, Fox News is saying what? What are they talking about? And then tracking it down to the IT department and then saying, just fix my computer.
Well, they're like, last week, oh my God, we have to deal with Sam Bankman-Fried's parents. And this week, we have to deal with it.
They need a break.
And they fired their football coach, didn't they? So, I mean, bad week for Stanford.
Jesse, what about the fact that they say you can't say brown bag lunch? Instead, you should say lunch and learn. Just because I have a brown bag lunch doesn't mean I want to learn anything. How do they get to the translation of the equation?
They don't want you to say brown.
Yeah, I get the brown is offensive. But you should say lunch and learn. No, I don't want to learn.
But also,
I want to eat my lunch.
brown bag lunch, though, is not just for people who have jobs. Like I go to these lunch and learns, right? And someone does a presentation. It's nice because they send you lunch while you're learning. But brown bag lunch is for kids, right? What are you bringing to school? You pack your kids' lunches, right? And now, I mean, most people use lunch boxes.
We've
now,
had lunch boxes for 30 years.
Well, more than 30 years. I'm just saying that it's not relevant, is my point. Right. Certainly, you wouldn't tell a 5-year-old, just go to a lunch and learn. When you get to the cafeteria, look for the person that's teaching.
You're not supposed to have bags anymore anyway. You should just be walking around with sandwiches in your hand.
That's true. You can't don't
just
use
a treat in your hand. But these things, they're never real. And it reminds me of, remember the push for Latinx, to use the term Latinx, and they actually polled Latino people and only 3% wanted to be identified as Latinx. It's the same.
Well, here's a problem. It starts with political correctness, and then people who don't understand it are then afraid to talk.
Yeah, it's true.
And so the only ones yapping are the ones creating these problems.
That's why you have to.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.